congregation. My name is Reverend David Kramer, minister here at this church. With me today is Alex Chilson, our music director, Dennis Reynolds, our director of religious education, and Meg Whaley, chair of our religious services committee. This is a pre-recorded video service that will be available on our website throughout the week. During this time of limited travel and social distancing, I hope it can help you find a way to stay connected to this caring community. Please pay special attention to the Monday, Tuesday, and Friday email posts to keep you up to date. And I have a couple of things to lift up. Starting next week, April 19th, we will begin a 4-part discussion group of the UUA Common Read and Indigenous Peoples History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. We will discuss the first 3 chapters next Sunday. Of course, it's better if you have read them first, but you can join in even if you have not cracked the book. You do, however, have to let me know you want to join in so I can send you a link to the conversation. I will not be sending this link out generally, just to those who ask for it, so please make sure you register. And again, this Sunday, we will hold an online coffee hour starting at 11:30 using the Zoom program. Along with the email inviting you to this service was a link to the Zoom call. So far, we've had more than 20 people. Each week we've done this, and if you are still new to Zoom, it's easy. Just click on the link and follow the instructions. Today is Easter, a time of resurrection, new life. This also is the beginning of Passover, a time of emerging. Easter reminds us that loss and despair do not have the last word. This is a time to look to a new day, a new season. Newness is all around us, even in this time of isolation. You are not alone. Please join me in lighting our chalice with the words you may know by heart. May this flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Here together we scatter and nurture seeds of spirit, service, and community. Let's sing together. Hymn number 61 in your gray hymnals, if you have them. Lo, the earth awakes again. And now we have a special time with children. Many of you know that I have really enjoyed the books written by Jory John and Pete Oswald. the bad seed and the good egg and then the cool bean. Well, this is the next book in that series. It is The Great Eggscape, perfect for Easter. Dennis is going to help me read this, and we begin.
Howdy, I'm Shell, an egg. How's it going? It's just me today. I'm on my own. The other eggs, where are they? That's a good question.
The thing is, sometimes they leave the carton on weekends before the customers arrive. They escape into the store.
They call it the Great Escape.
Get it? Eggscape? Me, I'm not really in the mood to run around. If you want to know the truth, I'd rather just sit here. I don't mind a little me time. No reason to go frolic with everybody else. I prefer adventures of the imagination. It's quite peaceful here without all the other eggs.
Sure, there's a part of me that wonders what they're doing right this very moment, and I have a few guesses.
Right this very moment, we look amazing, so festive. Let's play a game.
Everybody pick a good hiding spot. Great idea, Shell. Will have to come find us. He won't know where we are. I'm behind a tomato. I'm next to the avocados. I'm blending in with the potatoes.
What's so funny about that? Being a potato is serious business. This is the life. When you live in a carton with a lot of roommates, you never get much peace and quiet. So I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts.
Exactly 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 2 seconds later, nobody's back yet. Where are Clegg and Meg and Peg and Egbert and Greg and Shelby and Shelley and Sheldon and Frank and other Frank? Did I forget anybody? Anyway, they should have been home by now. These great escapes are usually over by lunch, when everybody starts to get hungry.
I'll just wait a few more minutes. They'll surely be home quite soon. No reason to stress, no reason to pace, no reason to get all worked up.
Noon! It's noon! Morning is officially over. Okay, now I'm getting nervous. Where are my friends? Are they okay? Should I go look for them? But what if they come home while I'm away? I just don't know what to do.
This shell's kind of a worry word. Meanwhile, in the pickles, in the flowers, in the bread, in the pineapples.
I must find them. Where do I start? Maybe in aisle 1. That seems promising. Pickles, pickles, pickles. It's all pickles.
Wait, Greg, is that you? What are you doing by those pickles? And why are you painted like a galaxy in outer space? Oh, I'm hiding. But why? Why not? Well, I found you. Indeed you did, Shell. Indeed you did. Shall we look for the others? Indeed.
I found you, and I found you, and there you are, and I found you too.
Isn't it amazing how you find things once you know what you're looking for? Is that everybody? Line up, eggs. Let's see. We have you, and 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 you. That's 10 eggs, plus me, which equals 11. Wait a minute. Where's Meg? Has anybody seen Meg? Meg!
Wait, where are you guys going?
Here I am.
To get some lunch, Shell? Then maybe take a nap? Hide and seek is certainly tiring. Meg will turn up eventually. She always does.
Eggs! Halt! That's my favorite pun in this whole thing. As the old saying goes, if a fellow egg is hiding, we must look until we find them. Or maybe that's the new saying. Anyway, we're not finished until we're all back together as a dozen. Got it? Good. Let's go.
Greg, search the high shelves. Peg, check the low shelves. Clegg, don't forget the middle shelves. Sheldon, look through the bag of marshmallows. Shelby, comb aisle 5. Egbert, investigate aisle 6. Me, I'll scour the discount aisle. Meg has to be around here somewhere.
Shell, I found a note by the cash register. It might be a clue. Well, read it, Greg. Okay, you don't have to yell. If you just want to find an egg, just like a pot of gold, go where things are sold in bulk and look for something bold. It was a clue, Shell. I mean, it is a clue. Indeed, Greg, indeed.
Bulk, bold, bulk, bold, bulk. Wait, I think I got it.
Follow the eggs to the bulk bin aisle. Onward.
Wow, there are just so many bins, but which one is the right one? How would we know? Shall remember how the clue said to look for something bold? Do you think Meg is hiding in that bold coffee?
Eggs! Shoulder stack! Unite! Knock, knock. We know you're in there.
Oh, hi, I thought you were never going to find me. Nice work, Shell. Glad you found your way out of the carton for once and into the world. Thanks, Meg, but it wasn't just me. We found you as a group, and now we're back together again. Whew.
You know, looking for eggs is fun. Finding eggs is more fun. But you know the most fun of all?
A chance to frolic with your friends.
Say, when's the next great eggscape? Shall we do this again tomorrow?
Indeed we shall, Shell.
Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the eggscape. And now I'm going to ask you to shift gears a little. Take a little time for some silent reflection, meditation, prayer. Words from Walter Brueggemann, Exile. Like the ancients, we know about ashes and smoldering ruins and collapse of dreams and loss of treasure and failed faith and dislocation and anxiety and anger and self-pity. For we have watched the certitudes and entitlements of our world evaporate. Like the ancients, we are a mix of perpetrators, knowing that we have brought this on ourselves, and a mix of victims, assaulted by others who rage against us. Like the ancients, we weep in honesty at a world lost and the dread silence of your absence. We know and keep busy in denial, but we know, like the ancients, we refuse the ashes and watch for newness. Like them, we ask, can these bones live? Like the ancients, we ask, is the hand of the Lord shortened, that the Lord cannot save? Like the ancients, we ask, will you at this time restore what was? And then we wait. We wait through the crackling of fire and the smash of buildings and the mounting body count and the failed fabric of medicine and justice and education. We wait in a land of strangeness, but there we sing songs of sadness, belatedly songs of praise, acts of hope, gestures of Easter, gifts you have yet to give. Each week we share a bit of our lives in this congregation, milestones, joys, and sorrows. I am thinking especially now of those whose livelihoods have been taken from them by the virus, people home without income, struggling to make ends meet. I'm also thinking especially of Sarah Tones from this congregation, whose nephew Craig died this week in New Jersey. He would have been 66 just this week. We don't know whether Craig Tones died directly because of coronavirus. He had been living in an assisted living facility for some time with various health issues. Sarah says his passing was not entirely unexpected, but as he had some issues with his lungs, it might well have been affected by the virus. As we lift up our joys and sorrows today, I also want to acknowledge the deep injustice that is illuminated by the virus. I was on a conference call earlier this week with Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, with many other clergy from around the state, a call intended to help connect us and also to deliver the sad news to many that we cannot be together this Easter Sunday. But the main concern of the call was not that we would not be able to meet. The concern was the disappointment, the disproportionate toll this virus is taking on the African American community. Even now, as we are learning from some officials that social distancing is seeming to work, we need to keep it up, and we can lick this thing. Even then, half the deaths so far in Wisconsin have been African Americans, nearly all from the north side of Milwaukee. Why is this? Well, decades upon decades of social inequality have piled up to create an intensely vulnerable community, segregated by geography, by wealth, by access to health care, by attitude. Pile onto this the inequity of Tuesday's election, which compounded this racist system by disenfranchising thousands of voters. Today I ask that in our prayers for those around us, we hold in our hearts and minds and our commitment people of color within our community and beyond who are hurting and dying. This virus does not discriminate, but we do. The clear message here is to bring that to an end. Also, in this time of joys and sorrows, I want to lift up joys. A few people whom I don't know have any particular events in their lives, but who I want to recognize, people within our community. I am grateful for Jen Fries and Ziggy, for Chad Lantow, Evan Williams, and Desmond and Trent, and for Beth and Dan Steffes, and for Sarah Tones. For all of us, let's sing together, Walking with You.
Our first reading today is from May Sarton. The extreme delicacy of this Easter morning spoke to me as a prayer and as a warning. It was light on the brink, spring light after a rain that gentled my dark night. I walked through landscapes I had never seen, where the fresh grass had just begun to green, and its roots, watered deep, sprung to my tread. The maples were a cloud of feathery red, but flowering trees still showed their clear design against the pale blue brightness chilled like wine. And I was praying all the time I walked, while starlings flew about and talked. Somewhere and everywhere life spoke the word. The dead trees woke, each bush held its bird. I prayed for delicate love and difficult, that all be gentle now, and know no fault, that all be patient as a wild rabbit fled sudden before me. Dear love, I would have said, and to each bird who flew up from the wood, I would be gentler still, if that I could. For on this Easter morning it would seem the softest footfall danger is extreme. And so I prayed to be less than the grass, and yet to feel the presence that might pass. I made a prayer, I heard the answer, wait, when all is in so peril, so delicate.
So our choir had been preparing an anthem for today, and unfortunately the choir cannot be here with us except for the three of us. And fortunately, we have Meg and we have Alex. And so we are going to sing, as best we can, the anthem for today, Blue Green Hills of Earth.
Our second reading is from John, chapter 20, verses 11 through 16. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her, "Why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize it was Jesus. He asked her, "Why are you crying? Who is it that you are looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him and I will get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabbi," which means teacher.
So there was a popular cartoon character in the funny pages when I was growing up. We would call him a meme today, who dressed in a white robe and carried a sign that said, "The end is near." Man, do I wish I had a sign like that for you today. Unfortunately, I do not think the end is anywhere near. I think this is going to go on a long time. I admit to melting down a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. I worry too much. I worry too much. I check my temperature. If I cough, I monitor how dry it is. I take a deep breath. Still breathing. Good. That's good. The title of this message today is Not Quite What We Were Expecting, which is maybe the understatement of the year. It comes from a book I have of 6-word obituaries titled Not Quite What I Was Expecting. The fact that the book contains only obituaries, I hope, is not too close to the truth. Seriously, when all of this began, when we first started talking about how to wash your hands, which was less than a month ago, I thought, and you probably thought too, that by Easter we would be all back together again. We would have to be. How could we do Easter without church? And then quickly, we moved beyond hand washing to social distancing and a ban on gatherings of 10 or more people, and then the 6-foot rule, and then orders to just stay home. Zoom zoomed into our lives. This service went online. Groceries got delivered. Bars closed. Highways emptied out. By now, more than 270,000 people just in Wisconsin have lost their jobs. And people have begun to die. More than 100 in Wisconsin as of Friday. Not quite what we were expecting. One message of Easter is exactly this. Jewish people were living under a repressive regime. They were expecting a long-awaited Messiah, a champion who would vanquish, smite the Romans. Just a week ago, as the story goes, this Messiah rode into Jerusalem ready to save them. But then that didn't happen. Not only did their candidate lose the election, they killed him. If you think this Tuesday's election went bad, but the story doesn't end there. The guy in the white robe was not carrying a sign. He was the sign. The whole idea of what a Messiah looks like took a big left turn. They didn't get the political leader they were expecting. They got Jesus instead. Not a politician, not a warrior, not even a guy who delivers your groceries, but a personal God, available to human hearts. They got a teacher. You can see the whole of the Bible like this as a kind of a chronicle of how the human idea of God has changed over maybe 1,200 years. The early Hebrews, for example, had their God, while the Canaanites had another one. They held a polytheistic view of the cosmos. And then in time, God, the God of the Hebrews, came to be seen as better than other people's gods, more powerful, the God of all the other gods, which is to say they were henotheistic. And then, of course, that became the idea of one God, the emergence of monotheism, which shows up sometime after marching out of Egypt. And along with this, the character of God changes. God moves from a scary, explosive force carted around in a heavy metal box, the Ark of the Covenant, to a wrathful God who destroys what he has made when it doesn't work out right, to a kind of a power broker who makes and breaks covenants, and then a benevolent father, a shepherd, a guide, still patriarchal, but at least sometimes kind. And then, with the appearance of Christ, to a fully human God, a God you can touch, imagine that. And finally, to a resurrected, spiritual God, a God of pure love. But it does not even end there. Another 1,600 to 1,700 years have passed since the books of the Bible were first collected. Just as they did over the time in the Bible, our ideas of God and faith and religion have continued to evolve. Humans did not stop thinking with the Council of Nicaea. They did not stop loving, feeling, or grieving, or experiencing joy. Revelation, as we say, is not sealed. Our ideas of God would have continued to change along with our ideas of ourselves and our place in the world. With each shift, we learn, we grow. It is sometimes a bumpy ride. We grow by the fevers we suffer. Here in the midst of this pandemic and this political climate, we might remember the Easter message. We might remember that we don't always get exactly what we were expecting, and even in the sacrifice and in the loss, change brings new ideas, new life. It is no coincidence that Easter comes just at the return of spring. From the stone-cold winter, life returns as it always does, defiant irrepressible, undefeated. But even if it comes the same as it always was, it comes each time as something new, something different. As many times as we've seen spring, we've never seen this spring, this day. So we are learning new things. How to connect without connecting, how to be kind, how to fight death with our minds and our hearts. The end is not near. The end is far, far away. Today is the day for living. Today is the day. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Blessed be. Once again, coffee hour begins at 11:30. I hope that you have found this online service to be worthwhile, and I hope that your Easter day brings you great joy. If you are out hunting for eggs today, along with them, find love, find justice, find peace.